Reykjavíkurflugvöllur Airport. Iceland is a Nordic island country between North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans on Mid-Atlantic Ridge between North America and Europe. Airport runway. Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, is home to about 36% of the country's 399,189 residents. The official language is Icelandic. Sun Voyager sculpture. Located on a rift between tectonic plates, Iceland's geologic activity includes geysers and frequent volcanic eruptions. The interior consists of a volcanic plateau characterized by sand and lava fields, mountains and glaciers, and many glacial rivers flow to the sea through the lowlands. Harbor. Iceland's ethnic groups consist of 86% Icelanders, 6% Polish, 1% Lithuanians, and 7% others. Harpa Concert Hall. The country's religions are 72.4% Christianity, 25.2% no religion, 1.5% Asatri or Falajo, and 0.9% others. Iceland stretches over an area of 103.125 square kilometers. Hallgrímskirkja. Lutheran Church of Iceland, parish church in Reykjavik, capital of Iceland. Completed in 1986 at 74.5 meters high. It took 41 years to build the church. Hallgrímskirkja, known for its distinctively curved spire and side wings, situated on the hilltop Sklavraholt near center of Reykjavik. Leif Erikson Monument, Norse explorer who is thought to have been the first European to set foot on continental America, approximately half a millennium before Christopher Columbus. Grand Bell Tower. Iceland is warmed by Gulf Stream and has temperate climate despite a latitude just south of Arctic Circle. Its high latitude and marine influence keep summers chilly, and most of its islands have a polar climate. Hafnaris Art Museum. Jornan Lake. According to ancient manuscript Landnámabók, settlement of Iceland began in 874 AD, when Norwegian chieftain Ingolfur Arnarsson became first permanent settler on the island. In the following centuries, Norwegians and to a lesser extent other Scandinavians immigrated to Iceland, bringing with them thralls, slaves or serfs, of Gaelic origin. Iceland has the smallest population of any NATO member, and is the only one with no standing army, possessing only a lightly armed coast guard. According to both Landnámabók and Íslendingabók, monks known as Paper lived in Iceland before Scandinavian settlers arrived, possibly members of a Hiberno-Scottish mission. Arnarhol Park. Botanical Garden. Swedish Viking explorer Geir Svaversson was the first to circumnavigate Iceland in 870 and established that it was an island. He stayed during the winter and built a house in Húsavík. Geir departed following summer, but one of his men, Notfari, decided to stay behind with 2 slaves. Notfari settled in Natfaravik and together with his slaves became first permanent residents of Iceland. The Norwegian Norse chieftain Ingolfur Arnarsson built his homestead in present-day Reykjavik in 874. Ingolfur was followed by many other emigrant settlers, majority Scandinavians and their thralls, many of whom were Irish or Scottish. By 930, most arable land on the island had been claimed. Althing, a legislative and judicial assembly, was initiated to regulate the Icelandic Commonwealth. The lack of arable land also served as an impetus to the settlement of Greenland starting in 986. Black Death swept Iceland twice, first in 1402 to 1404 and again in 1494 to 1495. The former outbreak killed 50% to 60% of the population and the latter 30% to 50%. Around mid-16th century, as part of Protestant Reformation, King Christian III of Denmark began to impose Lutheranism on all his subjects. The country became officially Lutheran, and Lutheranism has since remained the dominant religion. Iceland formally became a republic on June 17, 1944. Iceland is at the juncture of North Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. The main island is entirely south of Arctic Circle, which passes through the small Icelandic island of Grimsey off main island's northern coast. Gullfoss Waterfall, located in the canyon of Fita River in southwest Iceland. Gullfoss Waterfall. Fita River flows southward, and about a kilometer above the falls it turns sharply to the west and flows down into a wide curved 3-step staircase, and abruptly plunges in 2 stages, 11 meters and 21 meters, into a crevice 32 meters deep. The crevice, about 20 meters wide and 2.5 kilometers in length, extends perpendicular to the flow of the river. Gullfoss Waterfall. It is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Iceland. Together with Ingvellir and the geysers of Hakadalur, Gullfoss forms part of the Golden Circle, a popular day excursion for tourists in Iceland. Blue Lagoon Geothermal Spa. The spa is located in a lava field 5 kilometers from Grindavik and in front of Mount Orbjörn on the Reykjanes Peninsula, in a location favorable for geothermal power and supplied by water used in nearby Svartsengi geothermal power station. Blue Lagoon Geothermal Spa. The water's milky blue hue is due to high silica content. The silica forms soft white mud on the bottom of lake which bathers rub on themselves. The water is also rich in salts and algae. Blue Lagoon Geothermal Spa. Approximately 20 kilometers from Keflavik International Airport. The water temperature in the bathing and swimming area of the lagoon averages 37 to 39 degrees Celsius. The lagoon is man-made. Thermal River. Fagradalsfjall. Active Tuya volcano formed in the last glacial period on Reykjanes Peninsula, around 40 kilometers from Reykjavik, Iceland. Fagradalsfjall. The highest summit in this area is Langhol 385 meters. The mountain Fagradalsfjall is a volcano in areas of eruptive fissures, cones and lava fields. It is in a zone of active rifting at the divergent boundary between Eurasian and North American plates. Fagradalsfjall mountain was formed from an eruption under the ice sheet in Pleistocene period, and it had lain dormant for 6,000 years until an eruption fissure appeared in the area in March 2021. Fagradalsfjall. No volcanic eruption had occurred for 815 years on Reykjanes Peninsula until March 19, 2021 when a fissure vent appeared in Geldingadalur to the south of Fagradalsfjall mountain. The 2021 eruption was effusive and continued emitting fresh lava sporadically until September 18, 2021. Fagradalsfjall. Another eruption began on August 3, 2022, and ceased on August 21, 2022. There is little risk of lava flows blocking roads or reaching settlements, but this could change if Muradalir valleys fill with lava or another fissure opens up in a different area. Fagradalsfjall. A third eruption appeared to the north of Fagradalsfjall near Litli-Hrútur on July 10, 2023 and ended on August 5, 2023. Sunset. Iceland is closer to continental Europe than to mainland North America, although it is closest to Greenland, 290 kilometers, an island of North America. 62.7% of entire country is tundra. Iceland has about 30 minor islands including Grimsey and Vestmannaeyjar archipelago. Lakes and glaciers cover 14.3% of its surface. Only 23% is vegetated. The largest lakes are Risvatn Reservoir 83 to 88 kilometers square and Ingvallavatn 82 kilometers square. Other important lakes include Lagerfjöll and Mývatn. Jökulsárlón is the deepest lake at 248 meters. Viti, the largest island of Kólaftur Bay in Iceland, near capital of Reykjavik. In summer, ferries leave daily from Skarfabaki, Harpa and Ægiskur pier. In winter, ferry services from Skarfabaki on weekends only. Fjarðarfjörður, a canyon in southeast Iceland, not far from Kirkjubæjarklaustur village. The Fjar River flows through it, up to 100 meters deep and 2 kilometers long. Its origins dates back to the cold periods of Ice Age, about 2 million years ago. A waterfall flows down the western side of the canyon, visible from an observation platform at the end of a 1-mile hike up the eastern edge. Cliffbrekku. Geologically, Iceland is part of Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a ridge along which the oceanic crust spreads and forms new crust. This part of the mid-ocean ridge is located above a mantle plume, causing Iceland to be subaerial, above the surface of the sea. Seyðisfjörður. Many fjords punctuate Iceland's 4,970 kilometers coastline, which is also where most settlements are situated. Siglafjörður. The island's interior, the highlands of Iceland, is a cold and uninhabitable combination of sand, mountains and lava fields. Major towns are capital city of Reykjavik, along with its outlying towns of Kópavogur, Hafnarfjörður and Gerabur, nearby Reykjanesbær where the international airport is located in Akureyri town in northern Iceland. Valinakur. Rugged trails on a mountain with views over the forested Rsmrk Valley and glaciers. About 1 hour and 30 minutes hike. There are bathrooms at starting point of hike. Brimsey, small Icelandic island, 40 kilometers off north coast of main island of Iceland, where it straddles the Arctic Circle. Grimsey is also known for the puffins and other seabirds which visit the island for breeding, accessible by regular ferry and air passenger service. Akureyri, Mt. Hraundrangi. It rises to an unusually sharp point, less than half a square meter at the peak, a lava spire that remains with rest of ridge after much of original mountain, Hofjall, fell in a large rockslide centuries ago. Located in northern Iceland, nicknamed capital of North Iceland, Akureyri is an important port and fishing center. The area has a relatively mild climate because of geographical factors, and the town's ice-free harbor has played a significant role in its history. It is surrounded by mountains, the highest being Strida, 1,451 meters, 10 kilometers to the west, and Curling, 1,538 meters, at the head of Glacier, 15 kilometers to the southwest. It has a narrow coastal strip of flat land. Inland is a steep but low hill. 2 of the 5 largest fishing companies in Iceland are headquartered in Akureyri, partly because of the ice-free port as well as Vífilfell, the largest brewery in Iceland. Sites of interest include museums, Chuck's Botanical Garden and 18-hole golf course. The mountains shield the town from strong winds. The relatively warm climate for its latitude allows botanical gardens to flourish without need of a greenhouse. Area around Akureyri has one of the warmest climates in Iceland, even though it is only 100 kilometers from Arctic Circle. The snow cover starts forming in late October and melts in April, yet snow can lie on mountain peaks around Akureyri for whole year. Akureyri Lutheran Church. New residential and commercial growth required extension of electricity and water distribution, as well as new water drilling. Much of the town is heated geothermally. Tunnel. Akureyri has a robust cultural scene with several bars and reputable restaurants. The Icelandic folk dance ensemble Vefurinn comes from Akureyri. Folk culture is more prevalent in Akureyri than Reykjavik. About 3% of 19,812 population are foreign citizens from 53 countries. Akureyri had a reported 726 non-traffic offenses per 10,000 population compared with the national average of 892. Akureyri is a very cloudy town, averaging only 1,029 sunshine hours annually, with barely any sunshine between November and February. Akureyri Airport, one of 4 international airports in Iceland. Icelandair flies several times a day to Reykjavik. Domestic flights to Grimsey, Vopnafjörður and RSHFN. Medieval festival held every summer at Geyser. The town has one of the largest libraries in the country. Seasonal scheduled international flights from Akureyri Airport to London Gatwick, Amsterdam and Zurich with EasyJet and Transavia. Nørlereid in Greenland is also served. Autumn. All heating in Akureyri arrives from geothermal hot water that is extracted from boreholes, and all electricity is produced with either hydropower or geothermal power. The port of Akureyri is vital to the town, as fisheries are an important part of its economy. It is the site of large fish processing plants and has docking facilities for trawlers. It is also important for freight handling and tourism, as cruise ships stop in Akureyri during the summer months. The ice-free nature of the port has been important in the town's establishment. A small fishing village at foot of Mt Stapafell between Helnir village and Breiðafjörður farms on southern side of Snæfellsjökull. Busy harbor during summer months serving private fishing and recreational vessels. Several old houses with its own unique history can be seen at Arnarstapi. The old Ampmanshus, Danish prefect's residence from 1774 to 1787, having a history of its own, it moved in 1849 to nearby Vogur where it stayed until 1983 and moved back to Arnarstapi in 1985, and declared a historical site in 1990. Jökulsárlón basalt rock. Iceland has 3 national parks: Vatnajökull National Park, Snæfellsjökull National Park and Ingvellir National Park. Blönduós Airfield. Fjalldalshrepur Latlanesfoss Waterfall. Hafn, an Icelandic fishing town in southeastern part of the country, near Hornafjörður Fjord. It offers scenic views of Vatnajökull, largest ice cap in Europe by volume. Surrounded on three sides by the sea with beaches on a long shoreline to the southeast. Shoals and glacial rivers traverse this area with many shifting lagoons and sand reefs being formed. Hafn is surrounded by several small islands to the east of the town. Main economic activities in Hafn are fishing and tourism. Fishing involves both sea fishing and processing and packaging in the factories. The main production of these factories is bacalhau, saltfish, and processed lobster. Herring and capelin are also processed. The headland of the town is called Ingolfsfjall, which is 76 meters high and 85 kilometers in a direct line from the town. Seabirds such as skuas, guillemots, fulmar and puffins can be seen from the headland. 10 large and a number of smaller boats operate from Hafn. During summer tourist season, trips are organized to the nearby Vatnajökull Glacier. Stokksnes, a headland on southeastern Icelandic coast, near Hafn and Hornafjörður. H3 radar station Stokksnes is located at tip of the headland. The Iceland Air Defense System uses the station to monitor Iceland's airspace. Húsavík, on northeast coast of Iceland on the shores of Skjolfandi Bay. Húsavík was the first place in Iceland to be settled in by a Norseman. The Swedish Viking Geir Svavarsson stayed there for one winter around 870 AD. Húsavík means Bay of Houses, referring to Geir's homestead, which was the only houses then in Iceland. Center for whale watching in Iceland due to different species of whales that frequently enter the bay. Income is derived from tourism and fishing, as well as retail and small industries. Húsavík was the export harbor for silica that was extracted from nearby Lake Mývatn. Húsavíkurkirkja wooden church built in 1907. In the town there is a civic museum of culture and biology. Among other things, it shows a stuffed polar bear, arrived in Grimsey in 1969, and ancient boats. Each year in mid-July, Húsavík holds Merdagar Festival, which translates to Candy Days. Thousands of people from all over Iceland come to this tiny town to enjoy this occasion, which consists of music, colorful decorations, and an array of food and drink. Húsavík experiences midnight sun from June 11th until June 29th. Although Húsavík does not experience polar night in December solstice, the shortest daylight hours in Húsavík are 2 hours 45 minutes from 11:45 Universal Time Coordinated until 14:30 Universal Time Coordinated on December 21st. Ísafjörður. Iceland is highly geologically active with many volcanoes including Hekla, Elja, Herubreið and Eldfell. Eruption of Loki in 1783 to 1784 caused a famine that killed nearly a quarter of the island's population. Iceland has hundreds of volcanoes with about 30 active volcanic systems. Jökulsárlón, glacial lake in southern part of Vatnajökull National Park. Situated at head of Snæfellsjökull Glacier, it developed into a lake after glacier started receding from Atlantic Ocean edge. The lake does not freeze in winter. Ice, water and soil make a unique ecological phenomenon. The glacial front is about 8 kilometers from ocean's edge, and the lake covers an area of 18 kilometers square. The lake can be seen from Route 1 between Hofen and Skafdefell. It appears as a ghostly procession of luminous blue icebergs. The lake was developed about 60 years ago. The Jökulsárlón Lake provides outstanding views of the ice cap, a vast dome of ice that rises to a height of 910 meters. It spills to the lagoon 19 kilometers from the jagged glacier hill to edge of water line. Icebergs appear naturally sculpted due to volcanic ash from ancient eruptions that partly covers them. Diamond Beach near Glacier Lagoon. Lake filled with fishes, herring, trout, salmon, krill, that drift in from the sea along with tides. Icebergs are seen in 2 shades, milky white and bright blue, which depends on the air trapped within the ice and is an interplay of light and ice crystals. Seals gather in large numbers at mouth of lake to catch fish during winter. Jökulsárlón. Gullfoss or Waterfall. Landmannalager. Greenihriger Valley. Iceland has many geysers, including geyser and famous Strokkur, which erupts every 8 to 10 minutes. After a phase of inactivity, geyser started erupting again after a series of earthquakes in 2000. Geyser has since grown quieter and does not erupt often. With widespread availability of geothermal power and harnessing of many rivers and waterfalls for hydroelectricity, most residents have access to inexpensive hot water, heating and electricity. Mývatn. Shallow lake situated in an area of active volcanism in north of Iceland, near Krafla volcano. It has a high amount of biological activity. Snæfellsjökull. Geothermal steam fumaroles bubbling mud pots. Vent in the surface of Earth from which hot volcanic gases and vapors are emitted without any accompanying liquids or solids. Bedrock of the moors west of Mývatn is made up of interglacial lava flows. Most mountains in the vicinity of the lake were formed by eruptions under the ice sheet in glacial periods of Ice Age. Those which did not form hyaloclastite ridges is Snæfellsjökull. Geothermal steam fumaroles bubbling mud pots. Arifi. Hofskirche Turf Church. Rafferhofen. Route 1 or Ring Road is the main road that runs around Iceland and connects most inhabited parts of the island. The interior of the island is mostly uninhabitable. The road is paved and is 1,332 kilometers long with 1 lane in each direction, except between and within larger towns and cities. Arctic Henge. Streeto BS provides city buses in Reykjavik and long-distance public bus services throughout the country. Smaller towns such as Akureyri, Reykjanesbær and Selfoss also provide local bus services. Public and private bus services are available to and from Keflavik International Airport. No passenger railways have ever operated in Iceland. Lighthouse. Reykjanes is a small headland on the southwestern end of the Reykjanes Peninsula in Iceland, formed by volcanic action. Skaftafell National Park. Skaftafell Glacier. Skaftafell is renowned in Iceland for its sunny days in summer. Uncommon in south of Iceland, birch trees and occasional rowans cover the rich undergrowth of lower slopes, and birch trees in Strokkur grow higher than most other native birch. Several distinctive flowering plants to East Iceland are harebell, yellow saxifrage and pyramidal saxifrage. Gullfoss, biggest waterfall on Strokkur River in south of Iceland. Due to the amount of spray the waterfall consistently produces, a single or double rainbow is normally visible on sunny days. At the eastern side of the waterfall, a hiking and trekking trail leads up to the pass Fimmvörðuháls between the glaciers Jökulsárlón and Snæfellsjökull. It goes down to Rsmrk on the other side, and continues as the Lagavegur Trail to Landmannalager. A 527-step staircase leads up the slope to the top of the waterfall. Gullfoss is a waterfall on the Strokkur River, in the south of Iceland at the cliff marking the former coastline. Snæfellsjökull, peninsula situated to the west of Borgarfjörð, in western Iceland with volcanic origin. Snæfellsjökull volcano with height of 1,446 meters, and has a glacier at its peak. It is home of the Jökulsárlón Church, a Protestant church. Black Church, 323 species of flowering plants and ferns on the peninsula. Ligusticum scoticum, Scots lovage, Scottish licorice root, is an edible plant only found in Iceland on western aspects of peninsula. Local fishing villages and small towns on Snæfellsjökull's peninsula include Arnarstapi, Helnir, Riff, Olafsvik, Rundarfjörður and Stikkisholmur. Tunga Beach. Breiðafjörður is an important marine ecosystem with its seaweed and kelp forests, and the largest seal and maritime bird populations in Iceland. Jökulsárlón Waterfall. Up to settlement, only Arctic fox was present as top carnivore. Arctic fox is separated into highland and lowland populations, with the latter having a reddish-brown coat all year. While there are 4 rodents in the wild in Iceland, only the wood mouse is found in large numbers on Snæfellsjökull. Snæfellsjökull, winter. Killer whale pods are often found off the western part of the peninsula. Strokkur geyser. Keflavik International Airport is the largest airport and the main aviation hub for international passenger transport. KEF is in the southwest of the country, 49 kilometers from the Reykjavik city center. Reykjavik Airport is the second largest airport, located just 1.5 kilometers from capital center. It serves daily regular domestic flights within Iceland, general aviation, private aviation and medevac traffic. Akureyri Airport and Egilsstaðir Airport are 2 other airports with domestic service and limited international service. A total of 103 registered airports and airfields in Iceland. Most of them are unpaved and located in rural areas. Strokkur. Most of the people make their living from fishing and tourism. A ferry called Baldur goes over Breiðafjörð Fjord to Westfjords. It is also gateway to Flatey. There are several site-worthy wooden buildings in the town center. Jökulsárlón is a wooden house dating from 1867, which belonged to a Danish merchant. Every year on the second or third weekend in August, people in Strokkur celebrate Danskerdagur, Danish Days Festival, which honors the town's historic connections with Denmark. The original population of Iceland was of Norse and Gaelic origin. Iceland's official written and spoken language is Icelandic, a North Germanic language descended from Old Norse. English and Danish are compulsory subjects in school curriculum. Rather than using family names as is usual custom in most Western nations, Icelanders carry patronymic or matronymic surnames, patronyms being more commonly practiced. Patronymic last names are based on first name of father, while matronymic names based on first name of mother. Iceland has a universal healthcare system that is administered by its Ministry of Welfare. Unlike most countries, there are no private hospitals and private insurance is practically non-existent. The Westfjords. Razorbill at Lathrupjarg. The cliffs at Lathrupjarg comprise longest bird cliff in northern Atlantic Ocean and are at westernmost point in Iceland. Tunguruf Beach. Westfjords lies on Denmark Strait, facing east coast of Greenland. It is connected to the rest of Iceland by a 7 kilometers wide isthmus between Gilsfjord and Bíldudalur. Westfjords are very mountainous. Coastline is heavily indented by dozens of fjords surrounded by steep hills. The lack of flat lowlands in the area limits the potential for agriculture, which is mostly restricted to low-intensity sheep grazing near the fjords. Good natural harbors in many of the fjords and their proximity to fishing areas are vital for the local economy. The Westfjords are sparsely populated, even by Icelandic standards. The total population in 2024 was 7,168. The district capital and by far the largest settlement is Saftrur, population around 4,000. Fall. Westfjords are famous for their large Arctic fox population. Density of Arctic fox in some parts of Hornstrandir Nature Reserve, such as Hornvik, is the highest in the world. Are circuitous and communications by land difficult. In addition, many of the roads are closed by ice and snow for several months of the year. Mountain crest. Most common birds in Westfjords are Arctic tern, northern fulmar, black-legged kittiwake, Atlantic puffin, common guillemot, black guillemot, Red-necked phalarope ducks are common eider and harlequin duck. Breidavik Church. Westfjords is generally the coldest area at sea level in Iceland because of the East Greenland current. The Drangagjökull Glacier is located in the north of the peninsula and is the fifth largest of the country, but the only glacier of the region. Seal. Traditional hut. The Westfjords are famous for their large Arctic fox population. The density of Arctic fox in some parts of Hornstrander Nature Reserve such as Hornvik is the highest in the world. Hingvellir. Hiking trails such as the Execution Trail and the nearby Lekjubberjoder. Scuba diving at Silfra Lake, as the continental drift between tectonic plates made it wide enough for divers to enjoy unparalleled visibility. Þingvallakirkja Church. There were no permanent buildings on Ingvellir apart from a farm and 2 churches. National Park. The national park lies in a rift valley that marks the crest of Mid-Atlantic Ridge and boundary between North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. To its south lies Ingvallavatn, the largest natural lake in Iceland. Notable for its unusual tectonic and volcanic environment in a rift valley. Vikey Mordal. Rinaskirkja Church. Southernmost village in Iceland. It is located on the main ring road around the island and about 180 kilometers southeast of Reykjavik by road. It is an important service center for the inhabitants of and visitors to the coastal strip between Skógar and the west edge of the Myrtle-Sander Glacial Outwash Plain. The sea around them is rather wild and stormy, and travelers will note a monument to the memory of drowned seamen on the beach. Black Sand Beach. Its stretch of black basalt sand is one of the wettest places in Iceland. The cliffs west of the beach are home to many seabirds, most notably puffins, which burrow into the shallow soils during the nesting season. Lapina Field. Offshore lie stacks of basalt rock, remnants of a once more extensive cliffline Rianisjal, now battered by the sea. Fogar Sports Center. Mosses typically form dense green clumps or mats, often in damp or shady locations. Individual plants are usually composed of simple leaves that are only one cell thick, attached to a stem that may be branched or unbranched, and has only a limited role in conducting water and nutrients. Icelandic turf houses. Timber structures with turf walls and turf as a cover for the roof. Turf houses were product of a difficult climate, offering superior insulation compared to buildings solely made of wood or stone. Houses. Northern Lights. Seals with iceberg. Aurora at Vestrohorn. Aurora at Arctic Hinge. Hangikjot, smoked lamb. Traditional festive food accompanied by bechamel or mushroom sauce, boiled potatoes and peas, pickled beetroot or red cabbage and jam. Cleaner, angel wings, is a popular Icelandic fried pastry made of flour, egg yolks, sugar, margarine or butter, lemon juice, branvin or cognac. Cured meats. Oramatur is a traditional buffet served at midwinter festivals called Orabolt. It includes a selection of traditionally cured meat and fish products served with brau, dense dark and sweet rye bread, and brennivin, an Icelandic aquavit. The flavors of this traditional country food originate in its preservation methods: pickling in fermented whey or brine, drying, and smoking. Rye bread. Layer cakes, Randalin Randabrow Lagaka. Popular in Iceland since 19th century, these come in many varieties that all have in common 5 layers of 13 mm cake alternated with layers of fruit preserve, jam or icing. One version called vinarturta, with layers of prunes, became a part of culinary tradition of Icelandic immigrants in US and Canada. Haddock fish. Icelanders eat mostly haddock, plaice, halibut, herring and shrimp. Haddock is more abundant in eastern Atlantic than North American. In northeast Atlantic it occurs from Bay of Biscay north to Spitsbergen. However, it is most abundant north of English Channel. It also occurs around Novaya Zemlya and the Barents Sea in the Arctic. Largest stocks are in North Sea, off Faroe Islands, off Iceland and coast of Norway, but these are discrete populations with little interchange between them. Off North America, they are found from western Greenland south to Cape Hatteras. Skate. On December 23rd, Mass of St. Thorlak, there is a tradition, originally from Westfords, to serve fermented skate with melted tallow and boiled potatoes. Skates are found from intertidal down to depths greater than 3,000 meters. Most commonly found along outer continental shelves and upper slopes, typically more diverse at higher latitudes and in deep water. A cool, temperate to polar water in deep sea is a favorable environment for skates. As water becomes shallow and warmer, skates are replaced by stingrays. Skates are absent from brackish and freshwater environments. Brown trout. Eel. The rivers and lakes are home to Atlantic salmon, brown trout and Arctic char, European eel and three-spined stickleback. There are no amphibians or reptiles on Iceland. Shark. Hakarl is putrescent shark meat which has been preserved. It is part of the ormater, the traditional seasonal Icelandic foods, often accompanied by brennivin, a local schnapps. Fishing port in Grimsey. Seal hunting, especially the more common harbor seal, was common everywhere farmers had access to seal breeding grounds. Seal was considered an important commodity, whereas mutton was almost never eaten fresh. Seal meat was usually eaten immediately, washed in seawater, or conserved for a short time in brine. Minke whale. When Iceland started commercial whaling, mostly minke whales. In early 20th century, whale meat became popular as a low-priced red meat. Reindeer were introduced in Iceland in late 18th century, and live wild on the moorlands in eastern Farthing. Traditionally, lambs are slaughtered in autumn when they are more than 3 months old and have reached a weight of almost 20 kilograms. Crowberries. Iceland local ingredients include crowberry, blueberry, rhubarb, Iceland moss, wild mushrooms, wild thyme, lovage, angelica, dried seaweed. Humpback whale groups, aside from mothers and calves, typically last for days or weeks at the most. They are normally sighted in small groups, though large aggregations form during feeding and among males competing for females. Humpbacks may interact with other cetacean species, such as right whales, fin whales, and bottlenose dolphins. Humpbacks are highly active at surface, performing aerial behavior such as breaching and surface slapping with tail, lobtailing, and flippers. These are forms of play, communication, or removing parasites. Reindeer meat is considered a special delicacy and is usually very expensive. Arctic fox. Well adapted to living in cold environments and is best known for its thick, warm fur that is also used as camouflage. It has a large and very fluffy tail. In the wild, most individuals do not live past their first year, but some exceptional ones survive up to 11 years. Arctic fox is the only land mammal native to Iceland. It came to isolated North Atlantic island at end of last ice age, walking over frozen sea. Arctic fox. 2 genetically distinct coat color morphs. White and blue. White morph has seasonal camouflage, white in winter and brown along back with light gray around abdomen in summer. Blue morph is often a dark blue, brown or gray color year-round. Arctic fox is the only land mammal native to Iceland. It came to the isolated North Atlantic island at the end of the last ice age, walking over the frozen sea. Humpback whale. Icelandic sheep. Traditionally domestic sheep, the most common farm animal in Iceland, was the primary source of meat. Eider ducks. Horse meat, salted and served boiled or in jugu, a form of smoked sausage, has been common in Iceland since 19th century. Sheep were also used for their milk and wool, and were worth more alive than dead. Geese. Seal. Puffins. Fauna. Horses. Atlantic puffin.